Hi, welcome back to Reddit Stories. I'm Shane. I'm Shane.
I'm Shane.
I'm Shane.
And
today's theme. Having COVID to take 6 weeks off while I do your work for free. I'll throw an all-office party to announce where you really were.
Whoa.
Sounds like some I would do.
Mid-pandemic, my boss disappeared. Just as we were gearing up for our most challenging, time-intensive project in the last 5 years, he dropped off the face of the earth. We kept working for a week or so without him because everything was virtual and the virtual work world was still so new. We didn't really need him. We were delegating tasks ourselves and completing things on our own. We spoke to coworkers maybe twice a week. But some decisions were beyond our discretion, so we could not move forward on those aspects of the project until we received a response from him. After about 7 to 10 total days of silence, we called his boss's boss, who informed our team that our boss had COVID, so wasn't able to work right now. We took that at face value, of course, sent him letters of well wishes and didn't bother him with work stuff or ask why he was able to notify his boss but not us. 3 weeks go by, still not a word. We're beginning to discuss amongst ourselves whether or not he's maybe dead. We're terrified and horrified and so concerned. We're contemplating calling his extended family. We're sending flowers and care packages to his apartment. Meanwhile, the project has descended into chaos because no leader was appointed in our boss's stead. So we are forced to navigate several layers of bureaucracy in order to accomplish most anything at all. Whereas in the past, he would have just signed off in real time. Around week 4 or 5, one of our coworkers suggests he doesn't really have COVID, but is instead using it as an excuse to take time off. We all jump all over our coworker, asking how he could insinuate something like that and lamenting about what a tragedy our boss is probably living through. People were chilly to him for days after that. Week 7, we're undertaking... Week number 7. Week 7, we're undertaking a letter writing campaign to upper management demanding an acting boss be appointed while ours is recovering. The project is a month behind schedule. We're all working overtime every day, sometimes on weekends without extra compensation, just to keep up with the clusterfuck of the boss's sudden absence. Week 8, he finally reappears, logging into a morning meeting as though nothing happened. He looks well-rested, well-fed, and has a tan. Not at all like someone who's just come out of the other side of a 6-week respiratory virus. He says something quickly to the effect of, "Yeah, that was brutal, glad to be better and glad to be back, let's get to work," but doesn't want to talk about what happened to answer any of our questions like, were you in the hospital, what was it like, etc. Fast forward to about 4 or 5 months after this. Whoa. My sister sends me a promo for a fairly new reality show. I'd never heard of it, but it's on a major platform, and says, "Isn't this guy a friend of yours or something? I swear I've seen him and you together." I watched the trailer for this show, and lo and behold, there's my boss, participating as a contestant on a reality TV show. It did not take long for me to put the pieces together and realize he took extended leave to go on TV that he knew he wouldn't otherwise get during this massive project, and lied about it under the guise of a vicious disease that nearly all of us had lost a loved one to. I sit and stew with this information, unsure of how to handle it. I know confronting him won't get me very far, but I can't just do nothing, right? I'm not close enough with any of my colleagues to discuss this with them and trust that they wouldn't run off and send an all-company email about it. So I slept on it a few nights, and then the opportunity fell right in my lap. I got an email from corporate encouraging teams still working remotely to plan virtual social functions to keep a collegial culture going and to stay in touch. Among the suggestions were game night, trivia, and watch party. With the premiere of the show only a couple weeks away, I got busy telling everyone how I'd been meaning to get into this show, and it's so enticing and exciting, basically laying the groundwork to guilt them into coming to an impromptu virtual watch party off hours. I offered to get special shirts made up and send them to each person's house, whatever I had to do to get the attention of corporate. Finally, I sent an evite to all my boss's bosses and any other members of corporate I could justify inviting without making a total ass of myself. Because this is entirely virtual, my boss is unable to overhear any of the chatter. He doesn't realize I'm hyping up this show, and he doesn't realize I've planned a watch party for it. I wasn't inviting him unless he had the balls to explicitly ask about it. I was hoping he wouldn't have heard about it at all, not until afterwards. That was really the only way this could work. The night comes, and I am screen sharing the show to a whopping 64 people. A huge chunk of my department.
Yeah.
Many members of corporate had showed up because I was the only person stupid enough to buy into their virtual social work party scheme, so they felt pressured to support it. I was holding my breath, hoping this would go my way, bracing myself for some kind of curveball, but there wasn't even that dramatic of a buildup. Right at the outset, they introduced the premise, which included the contestants being in a COVID-safe bubble in an exotic location, and gave a brief overview of each contestant. As my boss was introduced, right down to what he did for work, and I could see people register delight and surprise, then go blank, just before sliding into confusion and rage. The chat took a drastic turn from, "Oh my goodness," and "I knew him when," and all sort of pithy jokes to brave member of my team, or perhaps one just pushed a tad too far by all the extra hours he pulled in this douche's absence, sent the message, "Wait, when was this filmed?" My audience dropped from 64 to 58 to mid-30s, and by the time the episode was over, it was just me and the other 15 core members of the team. One asked if I'd already known, but some members of the team are very close to the boss, so all I said was, "Well, I definitely do now," and wrapped up the call pretty quick after that. Perhaps one of the best bonuses is that you could already tell from episode 1 that the character arc the show assigned to our boss was bumbling idiot. Yeah. He had his true colors on in full display and some production massaging upped them to the 11th degree. Boss was fired. My good buddy was promoted to his place. I am an office legend now, especially since no one is 100% sure whether or not it was intentional. And it was all so satisfying that it was almost worth the dozens of hours of uncompensated overtime that led to it. There's an edit title, should be 8 weeks. I kept not factoring in the first couple weeks because we weren't suspicious or burdened until the final 6. Best I can figure it, he assumed it wasn't a popular show, or maybe someone would potentially say, "I saw a guy you work with on this show," and he hoped whichever boss heard it wouldn't follow up. But that, in all likelihood, it just wouldn't be popular enough to get seen, or, and this is what my coworkers all think, that he figured he'd have plenty of time to figure out a decent excuse and either didn't, or he tried whatever excuse he'd prepared and it flopped. But I personally never underestimate hubris and definitely haven't ruled out his crossing his fingers no one would ever find out or he'd outsmart them. My theory is that he thinks he would get famous enough that he would be able to just leave.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I bet he thought like either nobody sees it and I can continue with my job, or I get famous and I just quit my job, get those brand sponsorships.
I think people outside of LA, they think that like when you go on a reality show, I mean certainly me growing up outside of LA, I would think like if you went on a reality show, like that's it, like you're famous now, like you don't really have to do anything else, like you don't come back down from that. Right. But living in LA, you see people who have gone on reality shows but like also work jobs. Like the show did not change them at all.
It doesn't, I don't think those reality shows pay much anything.
Yeah.
And then
you have to be like a star already, like a star within the show.
Yeah.
A star on a show that is a star show.
99% of reality show contestants just go back to being regular ass people.
Yeah.
Asshole for getting an impulsive tattoo against.
Why'd you pull this one, Kiana?
This is a throwaway, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible. My friend is 6'1", and he works out regularly, but respectfully, he doesn't look good at all, face-wise.
He is short, chubby, and has acne.
My other friend is way hotter. But he seems to do really good with girls. They're always all over him and stuff because of his genetics. He comes across as confident, smooth, suave, and funny, but when I do it, it doesn't work. Objectively, I know I have a better face than him, but I don't seem to get any attention. I mean this respectfully. I'm 5'3", and I've tried getting girls below my league, and even that doesn't work. What can I do here?
Yeah, I think addressing people as like below your league, that's indicative of a bigger problem.
Yeah, I think it's very clear what the issue is probably with this guy. I think he's probably extremely bitter, and it comes across immediately when he's talking to people.
I think he should probably get off Reddit and work on himself.
Yeah, comments, the fact that he wrote respectfully 3 times in such a short story means he's not really all that respectful. Oof, it's definitely not his height holding him back. Yeah, it's pretty clear.
He's just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
See, if he leaned into that.
Probably so much of his identity and so much of his life purpose is dating and like.
And the friend. Why do you
so
spend
obsessed.
half the thing on the friend?
Yeah, like I think he's so obsessed with that. If he just like lived his own life and just tried to do his own thing and have fun and be chill, I think he'd have more luck. I understand why women feel oppressed, are oppressed, but I think it would be a dream to go through what they do.
Huh. Okay.
Okay, let's hear him out.
You have my interest.
Let's hear him out. Let him cook.
The only reason I work out or anything is to be more attractive to women. If I were a straight woman, plenty of men, even reasonably attractive ones, have low enough standards that they would sleep with a below average woman they don't even know. I just go around getting blasted and ran through. Catcall me? Great. You're coming home with me. Not trying to minimize what women go through, but personally, I would love it and wish I could. The same way some people hate working a certain job while someone else loves it. I'd just be better off dealing with women's struggles. I don't really care if a woman sexualizes me, or if she only listens to what I have to say with the promise of sex. In fact, I wish all the women that ignore me would just have sex with me and pretend to care. I just want woman friends that I can vent to and have sex with. I don't have that. Any woman can have that with a man, though. The biggest issues for a woman, in my opinion, are the following. Periods/childbirth. I never want kids. I just have my uterus removed.
That counts as one?
Yeah, that's one thing. Period/childbirth. I never want kids. I just have my uterus removed so I don't have to deal with it.
Is that how it works?
I don't think this guy knows how women works. I'm just gonna make that assumption now. Self-image? Only reason I work out isn't because I'm not comfortable in my own body. It's because as a man, I already can't have sex with a stranger more than once every couple months, and I want to improve my odds. As long as I'm even close to average as a woman, I could just get drunk and hook up with random guys at bars whenever I want. Fear of being sexualized? I want to be. Not taken seriously in professional settings? I don't really want to work.
That's fine. I don't want to work.
I don't want to work. I just want to be a housewife with no kids in an open relationship. Plus, you get to weaponize your femininity. I don't see any downsides for me. I can see why most women feel oppressed, but really, this is all I want, and I wish women treated me the way they complain about men treating them. Okay.
This guy's just like uncontrollably horny.
Look, I wish him the best.
The issue is he's not talking about what women go through. He's talking about an alternate reality where women would treat him this way.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's like, he's insanely horny.
Yeah, he's not actually thinking this through. Edit. I never once said women have it easy. I never said women are making a big deal out of what they go through. Women all have valid concerns, but they're just not concerns that bother me.
But
same way how for some people having a child would ruin their life, and for others not having a child would crush them. It's just a difference in opinions. I'm speaking for myself personally. My life, the way I do everything, revolves around the promise of having more sex. At least he's honest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This guy's just horny.
Women can have sex a lot easier than men. I don't care if you argue, well, women might be able to have sex easier, but that doesn't mean it's easy to find a relationship. I don't want one.
He's just...
I want to have a bunch of friends, male and female, and to be able to have sex with at least 80% of the female friends I have if I just spontaneously hit one of them up. I don't want a monogamous relationship. I don't even want a single friends with benefits relationship. I want where practically every woman in my life could sleep with me if I wanted, with no expectations of being anything more than friends.
This person is 16. This person is just horny on main at 16.
Only NBA players and famous rappers can live this life. And that still comes with tons of expectations to maintain.
But I gotta rap!
But then you still have to work. And that still comes with tons of expectations to maintain your fame and status. I don't even want to work. He says it.
Yeah, this was written by Dennis from Always Sunny.
This really is a Dennis post. Almost any woman could become a porn star. You shoot a few times a month and make a good annual salary.
That's definitely
you hit
true.
up any of your personal guy friends and you can have sex with them and go back to being casual friends easily. And you could have 50 of these relationships if you wanted. Just a whole life centered around self-care, making friends, and having sex with your friends if you wanted. Very few men...
Just keeps going.
He keeps going. Very few men can ever have anything ever related to this lifestyle.
Unless you're a rapper.
Unless you're...
Or an NBA star.
Player.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that.
Women can be a professional dominatrix if they wanted to and get paid to spit in a middle-aged man's mouth and insult him. I can never do this. Even the most attractive of men can never do this.
Actually, yeah, you can.
You probably could.
You can.
I bet you there's some men who would be down for him to spit in their mouth.
No, there's definitely men that are professional dominatrix.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like...
Yeah.
You're so focused on comparing how you think women have it harder that you're ignoring that I'm making this post as an individual. And as an individual, I just want to have a load of free time to have sex with my friends after I come home from a long day of having sex.
I feel like I should hate this person more. But the more they talk, the more I'm like,
you know,
the more I'm like,
hold on, he's got a point. You know,
He
it's
says,
like
look,
if he hadn't led with like the women oppression angle, if he's like, I just want like more sex, it's like, okay, sure. But the way he framed it is insane.
Oh yeah.
He sums it up, his last sentence is, I literally only care about sex and friends. Women can